going on, everyone? It's Bales and welcome back to another video on the channel. UFC 287. Israel Adesanya retakes his belt at middleweight by defeating Alex Pereira, his arch nemesis, in a very, very good main event. And the whole main card was fantastic. And yeah, Miami put on a great show. First time in nearly 20 years they'd been back there, and I'm sure they'll be back very, very soon in Miami. But let's get stuck into everything that happened. So starting off with the main event. Israel Adesanya finishing Alex Pereira in round 2. 4 minutes 21. It was... Israel looked fantastic tonight. He looked good. Pereira looked good as well. I thought it was a very good first round. It was a sort of like a chess match back and forth. Izzy had some good moments. Pereira had some good moments. Second round was the same, but just before the finish, Izzy was covering up a bit on the fence and he was sort of lulling Alex Pereira in, which we learned after. But I thought, he might be hurt here and in a bit of trouble. But then sort of Alex Pereira dropped his hands. I was just going to land another shot, and then Israel came over the top with a couple of strikes and finished the fight. So yeah, fantastic performance by Israel Adesanya. I went absolutely crazy. Me and my mate, we hoping Adesanya was going to win. Obviously, he's one of our guys. I met him in person, him and Volk, so sort of got a bit of a special connection to Izzy and Volk there. But getting the job done and retaking his belt. It's interesting now exactly what happens at middleweight, because Israel's beaten everyone. So he's beaten Pereira. They're not going to do that rematch instantly. I still think that they could fight down the line at some point, but Israel's beaten Whittaker twice. He's beaten Vettori twice. He's beaten Costa. He's beaten Gastelum. He's beaten all these guys there. So like Cannonier is another one he's beaten. So who does he fight next? So is it Hamzat? Does Hamzat come up and fight him? Well, not come up, but obviously he's at middleweight anyway. But does he fight Hamzat? Does he fight Dricus Duplessis? I've heard a rumor that there's actually a bit of beef between the two. So be interesting. I didn't realize there was, but they could make that fight. There's probably those two guys there. What happens with Israel? So I'm not exactly sure. And Alex Pereira, again, does he start middleweight or does he go to light heavyweight? Obviously, Glover Teixeira's obviously not there anymore. He's a good friend and one of his he was obviously one of his coaches. So does he move to light heavyweight? Because he's already a big man. Like he walks around at 205, 210. So I think he can go up to 205 and create a bit of havoc up there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens after this fight. But great win for Izzy, and Alex Pereira obviously will come back from this. So we'll see what happens for those two next. Co-main event, Gilbert Burns defeating Jorge Masvidal in a decision. I had it 30-27. I thought Gilbert won all 3 rounds, and Jorge Masvidal did announce his retirement. So fantastic career for him. Had plenty of great moments. Obviously, the Ben Askren and Darren Till, both those finishes were fantastic. And he had plenty of other memorable moments. I could list off a heap. So congrats on a great career for Jorge Masvidal, and I'm sure that he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame at some point. So he had a great career. But Gilbert Burns, it's interesting. So he obviously beat Neil Magny, and now Masvidal since losing to Khamzat Chimaev, and that was a close fight. So I think Gilbert's right up there in terms of title picture at welterweight. So obviously you got Colby looks like he'll fight Leon. That's what Dana keeps obviously saying. So that's probably what you'd imagine is going to happen. Then you got Bilal Muhammad there. Obviously Kamaru Usman just lost, but Gilbert's there. So I would personally say Gilbert should get the winner of Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. That's what I would probably do. I think Kamaru and Bilal would be a good fight. Bilal sort of wants Kamaru, so maybe they make that fight happen. So I'd like to see Gilbert get the winner, because I think he's deserving. Obviously lost to Kamaru, but yeah, I think he's got all the traits. He's got good striking. He's got incredible power. He's got great jiu-jitsu, great grappling. He's got everything. He just obviously putting it all together, and he's been doing that lately. So he's looked great, and I'd like to see what is next for him in his next fight. Rob Font beating Adrian Yanez with a round 1 finish, 2 minutes 57. He looked fantastic as well. It was interesting. I thought maybe Yanez could get it done, but I was certainly thinking this is his biggest test, and Rob Font is no pushover, and he definitely showed that. His boxing's just so good. His jab's obviously amazing, and even his defense is great as well. So Yanez obviously landed a couple of shots, but most of them were blocked, and Rob Font landed some big shots and was able to finish the fight. So he looked fantastic. What happens for him next? It's going to be interesting, because that bantamweight division is pretty stacked. So you've obviously got Aljamain Sterling. He's fighting Henry Cejudo next month at UFC 288. You got O'Malley's probably next in line for that. You've got Merab's waiting in the wings there. You've got Corey Sandhagen. I think Corey Sandhagen could fight Merab next. So where does that leave Rob Font? So I think maybe Davison Figueiredo's coming out to bantamweight. I'd like to see Rob Font versus Davison Figueiredo. That's the fight I would like to see. Obviously, Font's already lost to Cheeto Veras. He's probably not going to make that again, and he lost to Sandhagen. So I'd probably do Rob Font and Davison Figueiredo for me personally. And then Adrian Yanez, obviously just go to the drawing board for him. He'll be fine, and he'll come back from this a better fighter. Kevin Holland getting the win over Santiago Ponzinibbio with a round 3 stoppage, 3 minutes 16 into that. Again, I think Holland winning the fight. He was up 2 rounds, I think, and he got the stoppage with a couple of big shots. So, again, I'm not sure exactly where this puts Kevin Holland. He was, obviously, both these guys were unranked, when I think both should really be ranked, to be honest, even though the welterweight division is very, very deep. So, Kevin Holland, I don't know exactly what he gets next, so I can't really put a name off the top of my head like a Rob Font. Like when I was able to match Rob Font with Figueiredo, I can't really think of an opponent for Holland really off the top of my head. So it'll be interesting to see who he gets. I'm not sure. Could have Luke or something like that, or Jack Della Maddalena. I don't know. Someone in welterweight division he'll get next. I'm not sure. Senna Ponzinibbio. It's a bit obviously sad the way sort of his career went. Like he was top sort of 5-6 welterweight. Just for COVID, then obviously COVID hit and he had I think it was an infection, so he was out for a couple of years. It was right in his prime. He was like 33, 34. It ruled him out for I think just over 2 years. So he's come back and he's obviously lost a couple of fights. He's won a couple, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't know where that leaves him now. He's obviously not ranked at the moment, and he's lost to Kevin Holland, so I'm not sure. But he was fantastic, and I had high hopes for him. But yeah, I'm not sure where it leaves him. But yeah. We'll have to see what happens after this. And then Raul Rosas Jr. losing to Christian Rodriguez. So all the hype sort of stopped momentarily. Christian Rodriguez, great performance. Round 1, Raul Rosas Jr. just tried to take him down at every opportunity. I thought he probably was a bit desperate at times to get the takedown, Rosas Jr. I thought maybe he should try and mix up some striking and then grappling, but he didn't really strike at all in the first round and a half. It was sort of just all takedowns. And Christian Rodriguez, the first round, just sort of waited out. He was in a bad position at the end of round 1, but was able to survive. And then in round 2 and 3, was just able to be patient and then have his moment. And he took over the fight probably after the first couple of minutes of round 2. And then he got him in a body triangle round 3, and he couldn't get out of it. So, great performance for him. It'd be interesting to see who he gets next. He's now 9-1 and a good win over Raul Rosas Jr. So, it'll be interesting. And Raul Rosas Jr., he's 18. He'll be fine. 7-1. That loss will make him a better fighter, and he'll come back from that. So it'll be interesting to see who both of them get next. So great event in Miami. It was fantastic. Obviously, Israel Adesanya regaining his middleweight title. So fantastic event. So let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the event. If you guys were happy with the results, if any comments you guys have on the event, put them in the comments below. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and then turn notifications on so you don't miss when I go live or upload any of the content in the future. And all my social media links are in the description below. We'll be back in a few weeks for UFC 288, Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo. That'll be a very interesting fight for that one. Triple C coming back to try and regain his bantamweight title against Aljamain Sterling, who's been the reigning champ for a little bit now. So I can't wait for that. Will be fantastic. And also Charles Oliveira and Benil Dariush as a co-main event. That'll be interesting. Does the winner of that fight get Islam Makhachev next? That'll be very interesting. I think if Dariush wins, it will. Maybe Charles Oliveira, a bit more of a debate, but we will see what happens with that. We're back for the review and recap for that as always. But until then, guys, hope you guys had a happy Easter and spent some time with your family and friends. And I'll catch everyone in the next video. So I'm out. Cheers.